Welcome to Q&A with Qlik. Today we're going to be talking about Qlik Cloud Administration. I want to quickly introduce myself. My name's Troy Rainey. I help put together webinars and videos like this one. And we've got a great expert panel for you today. I'll let everyone go around and quickly say hello. Daniele, why don't we start with you?
Hi, everyone. This is Daniele. I work with mostly cloud stuff at the analytics side. Been with Qlik since 2014, so it's quite some time. And yeah, here I am.
Fantastic. Thanks. Umberto.
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Umberto De Domenico. I'm a cloud adoption specialist, and I've been working in Qlik for several years now, maybe 8 or something like that. And I'm based in Barcelona.
Fantastic. Vinay.
Hello everyone. So my name is Vinay and I'm based in Bangalore and I've been with Qlik for 6 years now and I work with our US cloud customers and help them on board and on their cases as well.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. All right. Well, we'll just jump into the questions. If you have any, go ahead and enter them in the Q&A tool, but I'll start with the first question. When uploading files to data files, realize that those files are not downloadable. So to make it difficult, it makes it difficult to upload editable files such as Excel spreadsheets. What is your recommendation for storing editable files would that mainly be Gateway, S3, or SharePoint?
I can take that one. First of all, it is true. If you upload a file, you're not able to download it. People are wondering sometimes why. The reason why is that when we started with Qlik Cloud, we basically provided unlimited space to everyone. And by doing that, the risk was that people was just using it as storage, put the stuff there, download it, put it back, and that would have had a high impact on our cost. Now that we have moved to the capacity model, in theory, that shouldn't be necessary. And we might change that in the future, but we still have some customers that are on the analytics side, and it's complicated to change things just for a set of customers. And I mean, it might be possible, but maybe one day when everyone is at the capacity side, we'll be able to allow more liberty when it comes to that, more freedom. When it comes to what we recommend, we are completely agnostic. You can choose your own preferred platform. We have no preferences. Whatever is faster for you, whatever is better, whatever works better for your costs strategy is fine. There is no specific recommendation.
Okay, that's fair. That's one of the advantages of Qlik, that we work with everybody. So that makes sense. Next question. What are some AI and agentic agents that are available for Qlik to connect to? That's a big question.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a generic question. I can take this one as well. The thing is this, it depends on what you mean by tool. When we're talking about tools, usually it's about MCP server. And there we have listed on the help site. I can share it, just a second.
Is this the one?
Okay, you have it already?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you scroll at the bottom, you can see all the tools that can be used by whatever MCP tool software you're using. It might be Cloud. You're using Cloud. You're connected to our MCP server. If you scroll up a little bit, more. Okay, if you go to category, app discovery, metadata, you will see those tools listed with the tool name, Qlik Search, Qlik Describe App. When you use the MCP client that you're using, like might be Claude, it might be ChatGPT, might be Gemini, whatever, you don't need to know the exact name of those tools, but that gives you an idea of the functionalities that are available. Like you're able to search apps, you're able to do discovery of metadata, bookmarks, and all those things. So that is what you can do with tools. If we're talking about MCP tools, if we instead are talking about tools that can be used to connect to Qlik Cloud, yeah, we mentioned MCP. You can use also Automate, for instance, to connect via Automate and do some queries. You can use the API calls that we have listed on Qlik Dev, and there is Qlik Dev. Maybe Troy can share it. If you go to qlik.dev, and this place is really the Bible of everything that is needed. APIs on top, and REST on the left. And there you have, for instance, if you scroll down a little bit more, you should have assistance.
There was the discovery agent right away.
Yeah.
Or
if you go to assistance, yeah, we started to categorize our endpoints for APIs. So they used to be under just a big V1 category. Now we started to put them a little bit into places. And with assistance, you can do stuff like if you scroll down, you can see what you are able to do. You can create an assistant. On the left, you'll see the list of things that can be done. Perform, search, create a starter. So it depends on what you're doing. If you just connect to the analytics hub, you can ask questions on answer there. If you want to use Claude or any MCP tool, you can use any MCP tool, or you can use APIs, automate. Everything that uses API is fine. And yeah,
great.
That should be.
Yeah, also wanted to add, refreshing what Daniel said, the connection to different agents is done through MCPs, but as Daniel said, we can connect to any agent or most AI tools we are aware of. Recently, for instance, an article has been published which is referring to perplexity.ai, which is connectable through the Qlik MCP server. So we keep adding more connectivity to outbound AI tools by using MCP servers. And this is a critical point because sometimes we want to use the Qlik agentic solution, Qlik Answers. Other times we want an external agent or AI tool to do the reasoning, and we can do that in Qlik by using MCP.
Great.
Yeah, answer stays within the platform, the Qlik platform. With MCP, you go outside. You will need, of course, a subscription to any LLM that you might use, and you'll be able to integrate stuff with other stuff that you're doing via your MCP client. So you have there's really a broad opportunity of things that you can use in order to use our agentic infrastructure.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, since Daniel and Alberto covered all, if we're looking at like an external AI services, we have like, generative AI connectors available, which can, connect to your, OpenAI, Azure, or Anthropic, Gemini AI, stuff like that. It can be connected via, analytics connectors as well, and then load the data. And we have like, ML or, endpoints as well. Like it can connect your Azure ML or Amazon SageMaker, stuff like that. Those connections are available as well to connect as an external, endpoint.
Fantastic, guys. Thanks. All right. Next question. We are currently using Qlik Cloud with a single sign-on authentication, SSO, and we would like to understand the best practices for creating shared, maintainable database connections that are not tied to an individual's user account. This issue came up when an administrator who created connections left the company and those connections became invalid, resulting in errors. Could you please advise on the recommended approach for creating and managing database connections in Qlik Cloud to avoid this issue in the future?
I think I can talk about this. Well, there are a few steps that you have to consider. First of all, keep in mind that you can review the ownership of any database connection by going to the administration activity center and look in the content section, and there is a data connection tab. That tab shows you every single database connector, and you can view and change the owner of those connectors.
Right.
And again, going back to the Daniela's comment, if you want to do this programmatically by using API calls, you can go to the dev qlik.dev page and get that type of information by using API endpoint. The other point I would like to clarify is the pipeline that you may want to use when you deploy and maintain database connections. First of all, keep in mind that the developers, our best practice recommendation is the developers should be working in share spaces using those specific database connectors. The production database connections, in other words, the databases which are used for production data should be handled and maintained in a managed space environment. And the way to connect to the database through the connectors is we have two options. One is using I think it was called the user-defined credentials. In other words, when you open up the interface of the maybe I can show that we are quick.
Sure.
Let me open simple tenant. Let me share my screen. Okay, I'm here. Do you see my screen?
It's loading. Yes, we're looking at your tenant.
So now when you go to when you set up a database connector here, say that, let's assume you set up in a share space. And let's imagine that we use an Azure SQL database. In here, you have the option to use the defined credentials, checked and unchecked. What's the difference between the two? When you click on this one, you're going to say that every time the users connect to a database, they have to specify their credentials. So that's one option, which frees up the problems of maintaining the database connection credentials. However, if you uncheck this one and you set up here a admin-based account, not an user-based, which is working as an admin guy, but an admin account, then in that way you avoid having people who may have left the company to block the connector due to the fact that their credentials are no longer active.
That makes sense.
I hope I'm explaining myself well enough.
Yeah, no, that's great. And like you said, it's all about setting it up in spaces, and there's lots of different ways to manage those connections.
So the idea is to uncheck the user-defined credentials and put a single admin-based credential, which can be accessible by all admins and periodically be changed, of course, for security purposes.
Great
Like
advice.
any service you may have in Windows, for instance.
All right. Next question. How to set up an admin for Qlik Learning and a Qlik Learning account?
Okay. I just came across to this issue with some customers. Basically, the customer should have received an email allowing them, the service account owner, basically, or the person in charge for accessing learning, the learning portal. And that email should give them a link to a specific portal. The portal is the one I'm sharing now. But
This guy?
again, if you haven't received it, then you have to reach Qlik in order to make sure they trigger that email to be sent. Okay.
Yeah, so that's
What's the
learningadmin.qlik.com. Yeah.
Yeah, that portal, that learning portal, allows you to register your company and then enable the way your users inside the organizations will access the learning portal. You can decide, you have two options. One option is to allow everyone based on the email domain. And the second option is to allow everyone based on your personal decision as an admin person who will be trigger the email invitation. So it could be any email based, domain based, triggered by you specifically as a admin, learning admin user.
Great. Well, that's very helpful. And if you have any issues setting that up, just reach out to your account manager and they should be able to assist you.
Exactly. Also, there is a email that they may use, education@qlik.com. They can also access to that email. They can send an email to them and ask information about it directly. But should they have
Good
any
advice.
problem, speak to the account manager, to support, whoever. We are here to help.
And that was education@qlik.com. And they're very helpful, very nice people. So you should get a good reply. Great.
Yeah.
Next question. Is there a Qlik Cloud certification available? And this was one of those pre-submitted ones. So there is a page available, and I'll share this with you. But it's on learning.qlik.com. It outlines all the information you might need about certifications. And one of the things down here is what certifications are available. And they're split into two sections, Qlik Data Analytics and Qlik Data Integration. And there definitely is Qlik Cloud Analytics and Qlik Cloud Analytics Business Analyst. And there's even a Qlik Sense System Administrator certification available. And along those lines, there's even a learning pathway for administration that's relatively new, or it's been recently updated. I'll share that with you. So do check it out on learning.qlik.com. There's lots of resources available, and I hope that helps. All right. Next question. This one was fairly specific. Where to find the form on Partner Hub to add the company's domain name? We were just talking about this one before the session started. Vinay, do you want to address that?
Yeah, so you should be reaching out to your partner account manager, or you can raise a case with customer support and they should be able to guide you on this.
Yeah, because it's very specific to your domain and
Yeah.
yeah. All right. That's fair. Next question. Is there anything that highlights the differences between administering a Qlik Cloud environment versus a Qlik Sense Enterprise on Windows on-prem environment?
I can take that one. There is a page on the help site. Let me see. Oh yeah, that
This guy.
basically explains the basics of the two things. So to make it clear, when we created the administration interface for the cloud, we use a completely different approach than the one that we had on the client managed version, a more modern, a more efficient. And at the beginning, it was also a lot less granular when it comes to permissions. We have started adding opportunity of adding custom roles. We are constantly upgrading these. There's going to be more changes coming concerning spaces in the upcoming future. So nowadays you can assign permissions on a space, you can assign permissions on an app, and you can also go to the administrations, users, and then set up custom roles that allow users to do different things. So we have expanded that a lot to basically fill the gaps that we had with the client managed platform. And but yeah, the main page to use as a reference is that help page, and that explains how some things are different. And
Daniela, you were talking about spaces and user management. I just wanted to let everybody know that there was a recent Techspert talk where Umberto went through and demonstrated all these concepts and went through all the basics you might need to set up a brand new Qlik Cloud tenant.
Yeah.
Involving pushing users to the tenant, setting up spaces and apps and reload schedules. All this was demonstrated. It was a really great session. So I'll share that link with you. You guys should check it out. And next question. And I see some more questions are coming in. That's great. We'll get to them in just a sec. Can we directly link Active Directory groups to Qlik Cloud to control user access? Currently, we do that using security rules in Qlik Enterprise. Wondering if Qlik Azure is a must in Qlik Cloud.
I mean, if you're using Active Directory, then Entra is the solution, the main solution in order to sync stuff. Especially, you can even use a scheme to provide users in advance. You have more functionalities, and that is definitely, I mean, if you're using Active Directory, that's definitely the recommendations. There are several other ways, like if you don't want to use Entra for using Entra as the IDP, you can still sync groups via Automate or other ways, but the easiest and simple way is to use Entra, and then you can get the groups directly from the provider, from the IDP.
So Azure is not a must, but it certainly makes things easier with Active Directory.
Yeah. If you're using an Active Directory, Entra, Azure is definitely the best way to go.
Great. Thanks. All right. Next question sounds like on a similar topic. We currently use SSO for our on-premise Qlik server and UDC connected to a SQL database list of users for authentication. Since UDC is not available in Qlik Cloud, how can this be set up?
I can take this one as well. You would need something in the middle that acts like OpenID connector or a SAML connector. I think Auth0 as the database connector where you can get users from the database and then use those for authentication. So you will need something that follows the standards that we use for Qlik Cloud in the middle, and there are interpreters that can help you with that.
Okay.
Yeah, for everything which is about how to implement stuff, how to do things, we recommend using the Qlik community, because that's a place where everyone is very much active, including me, for providing suggestion, and other customers and partners that have already gone through exactly the same situations. they might be able to help you. You can search for existing stuff. If you don't find anything, you can post something new, and you'll get help there.
Yeah, we've got over 200,000 users that are active on this Qlik community, so good chance you'll get a reply and some help if you have a very specific question. Great. Next question. We want to programmatically sync our business glossaries into the Qlik catalog. Can you provide reference or template endpoints for using Qlik application automation or the Qlik Cloud REST API to automatically update dataset descriptions, field comments, tags, and custom attributes? Additionally, can we programmatically create data products and link existing QVD assets to them? Ooh, this is a great question. I was just thinking when I was reading that about the recent data product agent in Qlik Answers and the business glossary manager. Those are some agents through Qlik Answers that will kind of help automate that process. You can just prompt it with natural language. Once you get it, you have to set up Qlik Answers, of course, but there are two new features that make that much simpler. But you guys are the experts.
It's a very broad question.
Yeah.
Difficult to answer specifically.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff there. So why don't we start with reference template endpoints for using Qlik automation for adding business glossaries or syncing business glossaries to the catalog.
Okay, adding business glossary to the catalog.
There was really a three-part question.
Something which is important is that the whole platform, the whole Qlik Cloud platform, is based on APIs. So everything that we do on the front end is done via APIs that are available, listed on the Qlik Dev site. In some cases, we use hidden APIs, but those are not many cases. So if I share with Troy the endpoint for glossaries, and you can do things already there. Maybe Troy can share.
Yeah, this is great. Share that link. So this lists all the APIs related to glossaries, and there's a list on the left of all the actions you can do with that. So perhaps you can set something up with that. Hope that's helpful. Are you guys familiar with any templates in Qlik automation that might make that simpler?
I mean, I'm not aware of
no.
templates specifically, but there are definitely blocks in automation that can help you. Let me allow.
Just the raw API block is well enough to use the endpoint, but they are also, of course, there.
So as you can see, if you go to automate and you go to Qlik Cloud Services and you search for glossary, you will find all the blocks that can do stuff with glossaries. So I'm not sure we have any template. Again, recommendation is if you can post on the community. Another recommendation, again, if you go to qlik.dev, just a second, and you go to at the bottom, we have a very important place that not many are aware of, and it's the Slack channel, which is run by Dave Shannon, which is one of our product managers. You can join this Slack channel, and there's 3,700 members that can help you with questions about development and specifically about APIs and anything that is useful in that sense. So this is a really recommended place. Dave is very active there, and also we have other Qlik employees, and we have partners, and we have customers that are working actively with the development and other things.
That sounds awesome. All right. Well, also definitely check out the data product agent and business glossary manager in Qlik Answers as well. And next question. Is there anything where we can have the health check of our tenant I understand the scaling is auto, but just to keep a check if the tenant is operating fine.
No, I mean, I can take that one. From the platform side, Qlik owns the platform and is responsible for, performing the health checks, on a tenant level or on the regional level. So you don't have any access or visibility on that. But however, if you have any issues on any particular apps or, anything, then you have the option to perform, you know, analytics on those particular app. We have the what is it called?
Those monitoring.
Not the monitoring. So you have the option to run the analytics on a particular app, whether it's working fine or if it is taking which particular visualization is taking longer, and you can run the analytics on that. It gives you the complete health checks on a particular app, but
All right,
not on the tenant
the
level.
performance evaluation tool.
Yes, sorry for that. Yeah, completely forgot that the name.
No, that one is awesome.
Yeah, and you can also use the monitoring apps to see if all of a sudden, for instance, you see that reloads are taking more time than usual. There's something that can be optimized. But as Vinay said, the platform is owned by us, so we do the monitoring. If we are aware about any issues, we put them on a status page. If there is, and another thing, the tenants are not, I mean, they are isolated when it comes to the data, the encryption of the data, but the main platform is shared across customers. So a whole region usually can be impacted, but it's not like one tenant in a region gets impacted and the other not. So it's more of a generic cloud platform environment.
And with reference to the status page Daniele was mentioning, you have to go to status.qlikcloud.com and subscribe yourself just in case you haven't done. And that has got all information based on different geos. And so you can actually subscribe yourself and realize if there is anything which is currently not stable.
Yeah, and it's important that you log into the page because the information that you get without getting logged in is very minimal, while if you get in, you get the details of the situation.
Great. Thanks, guys. All right, next question. We are setting up our operations workflow and want our support team to handle systems alerting and maintenance notifications using the tenant banner. Is there a way to delegate the specific permissions to set up and operate this banner to the support team without granting them full tenant admin rights and consuming an analyzer license? If this cannot be done natively in the UI dashboard, can it be achieved via scoped API key or automation workflow? Okay, so we're looking for specific permissions to the banner.
No,
For
Go ahead, Vinay.
Sorry,
let's go on. Yep.
So currently, to make the announcement, you need the tenant admin role. Without that, you won't have the visibility to access that endpoint through APIs or, So what you can do is that you can, as you said, you can use the platform operation connector, which is generic. Any users with access to the automation can create, maintain or run other automations, but they won't be able to have like full visibility on what that banner looks like. But one thing that you can do is that, the automation can trigger a workflow which updates the message. There's an option for that, but there's no currently template or inbuilt template for that. You have to build one for yourself using platform connections.
That's an interesting idea. So you're saying they could set up an automation in a shared space.
Yeah.
That would update the message in the banner and then give permissions to that shared space without
yes,
having.
Correct.
But
they won't be having they won't know how the message looks like, but no, they won't be having visibility on that, but they can simply execute the automations that you have set up for different instances. Like for information one, warning, errors, something like that. You can set up an automation based on the requirement and then simply give them the access to the automation.
That's an interesting workaround. I like that idea.
There's also APIs, so it can be done
Yeah.
programmatically. And there's also, I also want to point out to the existence of the command line tool, which is a wrapper for the APIs. It's simplified way of basically doing automated stuff via command line. There is specifically one for Qlik Banner, but I think also in the APIs and then REST, there should be something specifically. And yeah, that at the moment requires a tenant admin, I think, as Vinay said. So you have automations, you have APIs. There are ways of doing that. If you implement a way that via an admin permissions, you're able to use the APIs, then your support team should be able to do it.
Okay, so there's lots of options
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, just to add to that, if you don't want to give them the tenant admin access, you can simply generate an API key from the tenant admin account and then you give it to your support team and they can run using those API key, use that API key and then you know, like Postman or any API tools, they can just update the banner. They won't have access to the tenant, but they only have access to your API key if that works for you somehow.
That's another good idea. Great, guys. Thanks. All right, the next question. We would like to create separate business glossaries for various clients or companies. Is it possible to create and assign access rights to several of these, one per company? I don't see why not.
Are we using are we talking about a multi-tenant setup or
Good question.
because that's possibly the best option?
Yeah. Yeah. So having a separate tenant for each company.
Yeah,
But then
subtenant. Yeah.
I haven't used business glossaries that much lately, but it is possible to like export them, right? So if you had a similar business glossary, you could.
And you can also put business glossaries in different spaces and then give different
Yeah,
permissions on the spaces. So it's you use space permissions to decide who has access to a specific glossary.
there you go.
Yeah, he's saying only
So if they
one
were on the
tenant.
same
Yeah.
tenant, there'd be a different space for each organization.
Okay.
There's different options there. All right. Cool. Working through these. These are great questions. Next question. Is there going to be a tenant admin role that allows access to every private sheet, apps, and so on? This is crucial for us, and as we had this on-prem. So we're looking for some sort of tenant admin role that allows access to private sheets. Oh,
Uh,
Vinay, you got a resource for us? Let me click on that.
yeah, so we do have a currently workaround, but I don't know if there's any work done by the product team to integrate that within the product, but you know, there is a workaround using, you know, Qlik CLI and then API option where you can list the private sheets and then, you know, publish those sheets as well. The steps are pretty clear here if you're the one
Great.
that
Let me just.
sharing. So
Yeah, in general, it's not a recommended thing for. So I don't think there is any plan to implement it as giving a person access to everything because of GDPR and other regulations where the access needs to be restricted, and you might not want to have some IT person having access to data that should be accessible only to the company's CEO, for
That's all
instance.
up to them. Yeah, but yeah.
That's so, but yeah, there are ways of changing the visibility of sheets and make them public, but then the moment they become public, they become really public, and so it's at your own risk.
Okay. Next question. On the reporting module, the task created, it sends emails that don't have the CC and BCC options. Are they going to be added? This would solve 90% of our cases. Nowadays, we need to create automations for those 90% reports. That's a good question. Do you guys know anything about having CC and BCC options when sending emails from
It's
Qlik Cloud?
referring to the reporting module within apps, right?
Ah, right. Yeah,
Tabular
it is.
reporting, I think.
Enterprise reporting or Tabular. At the moment, it's not there, as you know. Whenever you would like something implemented, the place to go is our ideation page, where you can request features. If they are maybe easy to implement, there is a chance that it will be implemented even with, and if they are low risk, that they will be implemented more easily. Otherwise, maybe that would require more customers to subscribe to the idea, add weight to that, and that it means that it will go up in the list of the things that our product team will need to verify and possibly implement, if it's possible, of course. It shouldn't be a big problem implementing it. I recommend using ideation and requesting it there, and maybe share the idea with as many people that you know. Yeah, our product team checks everything that gets logged. Then the prioritization happens according to several factors. How easy it is to implement quickly, what's the risk, and how many customers are requesting it. So there is a weight system and also some considerations that are made, and in the future they might be implemented.
Yeah, but this is really a great tool and a way for you to influence the development of the software. So you can see other ideas that people have already voted or suggested, and you can vote on them. And
Not many companies have this kind of listening attitude
yeah,
towards
and
customers, which is great because that made our fortune. The
it also
ability of listening
provides,
to
yeah, it provides
people.
visibility. So once you actually attach yourself to one, if you vote on it, you get updates on the development and decision making on that. So you get to see when it will be actually added to the product. So we look
Sometimes it
forward.
takes time. Sometimes we're
Sure.
quicker. We had for a very long time request to have a recycle bin. Now finally we are implemented soft delete because we have changed the way that we store the data and the apps. We have gone to a different way of doing that, and that makes it possible to use um, soft delete, and that's something that has been requested for a very long time, I must say. But in the end, we got there. Sometimes we're quicker.
And just for everyone on the call, we got some feedback that the CC and BCC suggestion is already on there. So we're hoping that people will go in and vote up on that one.
Ah, that's great.
Why not? Yeah. If we get everybody on this call, it'll take it to the top. All right. Next question. What is the best way to make backup from reports? I'm not quite sure if I understand that one.
From reports.
Maybe a backup of reports, or I don't know.
Reports are sent to customers, to users, and then I don't know if you store them on a SharePoint side, if you send them by email, whoever takes care of that should make a backup of those. We don't have any particular.
If you have some follow-up details to provide to help us give you a better answer, but maybe that is just.
Yeah. I mean, you can send them out by mail at the same time sharing in SharePoint.
Right. Those are your two big options.
Not at the same time, but consequently.
Yeah.
And that should allow you to have a SharePoint drive as a backup if you want to have a backup.
All right. Well, next question. Do we have the option to perform user impersonation on Qlik Cloud to validate user access if they encounter any challenges? that would be an interesting troubleshooting tool, but I'm not aware of anything like that. Are you? It all depends on how you set up your IDP, right?
There are ways of doing it via JWT.
With JDOT.
Yeah, let me see if I can find cloud user impersonation.
I know they are working on it. It's in the
Oh, really?
roadmap, but yeah, but I don't know if there is any specified time for delivery yet. They are looking to that.
Interesting.
But yes, Daniel is right. There should be a JWT kind of framework that you can use.
All right. Well, while you're looking up that, Daniele, I'll start reading the next question, and maybe we can come back once you find the resource. Next question. How do we sync users from a Qlik on-prem solution to Qlik Cloud if we have different authentication methods from the on-prem solution? LDAP, LDAP for one business environment and company Active Directory for another environment, and Qlik Cloud uses CIAM. How can we migrate the users?
Well, here I actually say, how do we sync? If I understood correctly, rather than migrate. One thing is migrating. You can use a QMT.
Yeah. Speaking of that tool, the Qlik migration tool, how to migrate from on-prem to Qlik Cloud Analytics. It's an amazing tool that dramatically speeds up what could take weeks into hours. I'm going to provide a link here. You can see all the resources and how it was actually demonstrated, and links to more resources on the Migration Center. And if you're there, you'll also find information if you're migrating from QlikView to QlikSense and then to Qlik Cloud. There's tools for that to make that process pretty painless. So check out those resources. But
yeah, so if the question is not about migrating, but keeping both environments, then the easy answer would be you need to have the same authentication, and then you end up with and avoid duplicating users. Otherwise, you will need to build a solution via maybe Automate or something else that helps you synchronize users or come on APIs. But built in, the recommendation is you use the same. There might be a wrapper that you can put on top of what you have to facilitate that migration. If you're using LDAP, something that sits on top on LDAP and uses sometimes, I think Auth0 can do that, or other things. Whatever you find works for you. Again, the recommendation is community. Ask there. There are lots of people that have gone through exactly the same scenarios, and it will provide the best possible solution that they found themselves, and that should be.
Also, I'm thinking the possible reason why you may have to set up such a scenario.
Well, let's not go too deep down that rabbit hole. There could be.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's not really necessary to have a double authentication mechanism, because you can clone the same or can distribute the app in Qlik Cloud from prems, and then you can allow the user to authenticate into one single central.
There you go. That's a solution.
Point.
The question has come up before on why can't we have multiple IDPs on the same tenant? And it brings up another issue. Like there's other ways to that causes lots of problems, and there's lots of solutions to avoid that kind of.
Not in the roadmap even. No.
Yeah.
Not available. Not possible.
One last question got entered here. The automation buttons related to the reporting are they going to be updated? I mean, there are several blocks available, like add selection to report, but they require a create report block before. So it obligates to create the report inside of the automation instead of using one of the in-app reporting. Having the option to get the tabular or PowerPoint reports from in-app, there should be a way to do selections on the reports.
Well, I mean,
Right.
when you're in Tabular, when you're inside the app, okay, I understand you may want to click on a button to have Tabular reporting triggered, but it's a matter of going to the pull-down menu and pick up the report from there. I mean, the Tabular reporting is available within the app, similar to a button. Is
Mhm.
available within the app, but in a sheet. So I don't see that as a dramatic need. I see a button very useful if you need to trigger a automated report. Yes.
If you're in an automation and you want to apply some sections to a report, I feel like there is a block to, instead of create a report, to actually use an existing report, or use a template. Am I crazy? I haven't done this. I've seen lots of demos of reporting, and I feel like maybe not, maybe not.
Didn't quite get that, to be honest.
There are blocks to get the tabular reports. Yes, thank you.
And no, they're not. But again, the Tableau reporting triggerable on demand if the on demand option is already set up
Yeah.
by the admin people. It's available already in the app by going to the pull down menu, selecting reporting, and there you can select the report and download it on demand. Yeah, maybe it's a 3 clicks away rather than just 1 click away, but
So I must say I'm not an expert of reportings, but I know that when you use the blocks for reporting, you can apply a bookmark.
Yeah.
And so if you create a bookmark with a selection before that, then it should be possible. I said I'm not an expert. I would recommend use the community and ask how other people
There you go.
have done that, because I think that should be doable using bookmarks. But I said I'm not an expert. I haven't built many reports in that way. So, but
There's a
on the
little bit of
community, you will find experts, including people from our reporting R&D team that can help you with that.
sounds like I should schedule a session focusing on reporting, maybe. But
Yeah.
there's a little bit of additional information. We don't have the CC or BC option, so we need to send the reports using automations. And for these, we also need to do selections in the reports. So we're saying perhaps bookmarks to apply selections. That might be a good option. I want to thank everybody for attending. These have been some really great questions. And I want to thank this great panel for addressing all these questions. Really appreciate you guys and your time. And I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Bye, everybody.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.